Alabama, Mississippi State in Starkville on Saturday. The Bulldogs are number 16 in the nation at 7-2. Of course, the Tide is undefeated. So looking at the college football playoff rankings as they stand in week 2 of the rankings, Stephen, anything that surprised you? Anything that you think is out of kilter that doesn't make sense to you as we look forward to another big weekend of college football?
Nothing really out of kilter or out of sorts to me at all. I kind of expected it to fall in the way that it did. Really expected it to fall in that manner. But what's kind of a shock to me is when you look at the Auburn Tigers for a moment. The Auburn Tigers are in a prime position at 10 in the college football playoff rankings. A couple of weeks to a month ago, this was the same Auburn team that lost to LSU, to an LSU team that lost to Troy. So at first we're thinking there's no way Auburn can get into this picture. But lo and behold, Auburn's 10. And if Auburn beats Georgia, they're going to immediately move up. And depending upon what happens to Oklahoma, TCU, and Miami, Notre Dame, Auburn could possibly move from 10 to 6 or 7 or 6. And that's crazy when you look at Auburn a couple of weeks to a month ago. So Auburn, number 10, is in a prime spot. Wisconsin needs this win. They sit at number 8, but the Badgers, they need to beat Iowa. They need to really beat Iowa. They need to make a statement. You beat Iowa and you win the Big Ten, there's a chance for the Wisconsin Badgers to make a statement, to make a case here. You look at Miami, got to take care of Notre Dame, and then you look at going to the ACC championship game. Should they win out the rest of the season, who would they face in the ACC title game? Oklahoma, well, your thing is pretty much set in front of you. You beat TCU, you win the Big 12 championship, you're already sitting at number 5. Nothing really caught me off guard. It's just that Auburn right now is in a prime position that I don't think a month ago a lot of Tiger fans thought they would be in.
Hey, if the Big 12 champ, the ACC champ are both sitting there with one loss, and then throw in Notre Dame to make it even more complicated with one loss, and Wisconsin has one loss and wins the Big 10 championship with its track record, meaning the weak schedule, I have no issue. Somebody's got to be left out. The committee has an impossible job. Somebody has to be left out. But if Wisconsin goes undefeated, and I know they haven't played anyone to date, neither is Washington. Washington has really played nobody. Their schedule is awful. ESPN was listing Oregon as Washington's best win to date. I actually think it's UCLA, but what does it matter? It's somebody not that good. Wisconsin, at least if they run the table, will have now defeated Iowa, who we see is a pretty good football team, ranked at number 20 now. Michigan, who's going to creep back into the rankings. They're very close. They only have 2 losses, and either Ohio State or Michigan State most likely. So Wisconsin hasn't done anything to date, but if they knock off those 3 teams, win the Big Ten championship undefeated, I will go on a rant. So I'm warning you right now, Stephen, I will be on a tear for a week. I won't be able to shoot enough videos talking about how Wisconsin got robbed if that's the case.
We might actually see you, Mark, on the mothership. You may have to move Scott Van Pelt over and then go on your Mark Rogers 30-minute spiel on where are the Badgers? Somebody put Paul Chris in here. I can see Mark just move SVP over and just do a whole 30-minute spiel on this.
Yeah, well, some folks out there would be interested to know that I'm not that far away from the studios. So I'm right there on campus, and I'm close enough to jump on the set anytime they need somebody to really break it down.
And that's what you're there for. And it's going to be interesting. I mean, you bring up a good point here. Wisconsin beats Iowa. And Wisconsin beats Iowa, Michigan. You go to the Big Ten championship game. You beat Ohio State. And you beat those 3 teams. That's a strong resume. That's a very solid resume, especially when you look at the only major loss for Ohio State. The only major loss for Ohio State, aside from Iowa, was you got beat by Oklahoma early in the season. You get beat by Oklahoma. We know Oklahoma's a good team. You get beat by Iowa, but we know the state of Iowa, they're full-blood gangsters. They're playing spoiler. When you talk about Iowa and Iowa State under Matt Campbell, who's done an unbelievable job. I never thought the Cyclones would sit at 6-3, but they're at 6-3. So if Wisconsin was to pull this, they have a great tape to present to the committee, because you're thinking, we just beat the full gangsters in Iowa, that whole state right there. We beat Michigan, coached by Jim Harbaugh, and then you take out Ohio State in the Big Ten title game. So if Wisconsin wins this week, they start their journey to really presenting their argument.
And to your point, Iowa State's not going to get there, but regardless of whether it's TCU or Oklahoma winning the Big 12 championship and getting to the college football playoff, let's say, Matt Campbell and company there with the Cyclones will be able to say, we beat them, because they knocked out both TCU and Oklahoma.
I'm just saying, if Iowa State does not come off some money quickly to keep this man, Matt Campbell could potentially be on the move, because teams, programs, athletic directors, presidents, chancellors, they take notice when a team that isn't supposed to be beating the upper echelon programs beat them. And he's done a outstanding job. Iowa State was the bottom feeder of the Big 12 for the longest time. They were right there with Kansas. And for the Cyclones to beat TCU, and you beat Oklahoma in Norman, that's not easy to do. You go to Norman and you take out Baker Mayfield, yeah, they better be giving a nice-sized paycheck to Matt Campbell, or that man's two-stepping out the door.
All right. Always quite the discussion with Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama. You got to join him on his show that launched back in July. It's called The Way It Is. You can catch it on Fox at 97.9 or download the app there for Fox Sports. So, Stephen, just to make it easier for the folks, let them know exactly what they need to do to download the app.
Absolutely. Number one, if you have an iPhone, which a lot of people have nowadays, you can go to the iPhone App Store and you search WSBM Fox Sports Shows. Once again, that is WSBM Fox Sports Shows in the iPhone App Store. If you don't have an iPhone, but you have an Android phone, you can go to the TuneIn Radio app in the Google Play Store, TuneIn Radio, and you search WSBM 1340. 1340 is the AM dial, but you still get the great content. So WSBM Fox Sports Shows for the iPhone, WSBM 1340 for the Android.
I just did it. Done. Got it right now.
Hello. Boom.
Just did it as we spoke right there. Stephen instructed me right on through the process. Got to download it off the App Store. Tremendous.
I mean, that's what you gotta do, man. You gotta make sure you're giving people the quality information to go find material.
All right. Everybody loves an underdog. Everybody loves an upset unless you root for the Crimson Tide. So Alabama wants to keep things just the way they are in the college football world, and they will march on to another SEC championship and a college football playoff appearance. But they've got number 16 Mississippi State on the road, 14.5-point favorites. I think that's a little light, but with the injuries, that's what Vegas must be considering. All right, we got Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama breaking down the Tide. Stephen, we always appreciate the discussion.
No problem, Mark. Looking forward to recapping this next week and seeing what Bama has on the slate moving forward.